I'm going to transition to another topic. Mike, the mortgage side of things, obviously, this is a time of year when a lot of people are, conscientious about, buying and closing, by the end of the year for tax reasons. They want to get that lower, they want to get that homestead exemption. They want to buy and qualify and get it done by the end of the year. One thing that we run into every year is a lot of closings like those last few days. So this is the time of year when people should start planning and preparing. If they plan to buy a home and close before the end of the year, they should be getting with a mortgage lender like 2 weeks ago, basically.
Right, exactly. And not only the end of the year rapidly approaching, but we have 2 holidays mixed in there as well with Thanksgiving and Christmas. That from the mortgage processing side, we're going to lose a few days for that.
And if you were to look at, just looking at the calendar, I think a lot of people fail to understand the importance of selecting that closing date. We're pretty specific about it at our company because we know the dates that are just really, really bad dates for people to close homes on. You've got Thanksgiving on, I believe it's the 22nd this year, is that right?
I
The
think so,
22nd,
yes.
November 22nd. You've got the Friday after Thanksgiving. That'd be a horrendous day to schedule a closing.
Oh, absolutely.
I mean, it would just, it just would be because you've got Thanksgiving that day, and then everyone's kind of checked out. They're thinking about all these other things. That'd be a day you wouldn't want to pick. The last day of the year, obviously not a day you want to pick. Days right after the holiday, Monday the 26th. Probably not a great idea
either.
For
lenders too,
because they got so many people off the week before.
Well, yeah, people are off. But if you're closing on that Monday after a holiday, for instance, you have to have your lender package there, before, which it shortens your time frame 3, 4, 5 days sometimes.
So when you're working with your agent, and we obviously do a lot of this at our company, but when you're working with your agent, think logically about picking that closing date. Don't just pick 30 days out. Look at a calendar. Like another example is
the last day of the year is a big one too.
Yeah, and it's a Monday this year. I mean, that's not a day you want to close on. Frankly, you want to have your closing by December 27th, that Thursday, because then that gives you a buffer if something happens. You got a couple days still to get it done. But you shouldn't be scheduling closings on the last day of the month. That's when everyone's the busiest.
Absolutely.
All the title companies, all the mortgage lenders, it is all the insurance agencies. Everyone's pushing to get everything done, and it's a nightmare to deal with. So you definitely want to make sure to get the closing done prior to that. And same thing goes for Fridays. And just Friday closings, especially Fridays of a holiday weekend.
Right.
I mean, those are just bad days. There's going to be title company people off. There's going to be mortgage lender processors that are going to be off, and it's just hard to get everything started.
Yeah, and if there's any hiccups at all, you're pushed to a Monday. Which, if you're a seller, for instance, maybe you moved out of the house already, then you got to find somewhere to go over the weekend. Same with the buyer. You may have been banking on that if you're moving from out of state. There's a lot of scenarios where Friday closings can end up being nightmares.
Yeah, and this time of year on you guys' front. I mean, you're going to have people take time off. You're going to have people take vacations. You're going to have days where you're not going to be at full force.
Right.
So it's going to end up happening to where you're going to have some struggles with with that kind of stuff. So be strategic about picking your closing date. It does matter. It does make a difference, not just from the standpoint of actually getting closed, but the smoothness of closing, your own satisfaction, and then the ability to actually not get delayed.
Right,
is a really
closing
high
on a house is really stressful anyway, but through the holidays is even worse because you have the stress of everything else. So just don't put yourself in a position where it might be strained or difficult to close on a specific date.
Right. Sometimes you'll see those end of month closings selected by the realtor because they want to get that money by the end of the month for themselves.
Absolutely.
So again, it shouldn't be the case if you're working with us, but if you're working with another agency and you see that, make sure to call that out and figure out what the rationale is for that particular select date. Sometimes it could be the buyer. They have a simultaneous. There could be a lot of reasons, but if you didn't pick the closing date, ask and have some control over it. So we'll be back after a quick break here. Make sure to follow us on all of our socials. We are at the Duncan Duo, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and we'll be back after a quick break here on the Duncan Duo Show.